Welcome to Eventful Endeavors, secrets to crafting the perfect celebration. If you're planning an event and looking for useful tips from industry experts, you're in the right place. So get ready to take some notes and we'll dive right in. This is Eventful Endeavors.
Hey everyone, this is Alyssa from Felix and Fingers again, and I am here with Megan from the Capitol Room.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing so good. Thanks so much for joining me today.
I'm so excited. When you brought this up a couple months ago, I was like, "Oh, yes, this is my I love this out of my own voice. So I love this so much."
Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, I met Megan just a couple months ago whenever we worked an event together, and I knew I had to bring her on here because I shouldn't have favorites, but she is one of my favorite venue managers I've worked with to date. So I wanted to bring her on here and get her take on weddings and events and get her advice so we could share it all with you today.
Yeah. It was funny. This is a tangent, but like when the second we met, it was like our energies just kind of like matched perfectly and we're just in sync with each other the entire evening. And it was just so perfect. And it's just so like kismet to like meet people like that in the industry. It was really I was excited that our paths crossed.
Yes, me too. We have lots of co-working and lots of fun things in the future because that's one of the best things about working in the weddings industry is you get to meet wonderful people and it makes life so much better.
Yeah, 100%.
Perfect. Well, Megan, can you just tell me a little bit about yourself, what you do, and a little bit about the Capitol Room?
Yeah, so my full name is Megan Bennett Felber. I go by Megan Bennett for professional reasons. And then changed my name after I got married to you know, just do the whole marriage thing. And so people call me Megan Bennett. They call me Megan Bennett Felber. They also call me Megan Felber. Doesn't really matter. I will answer to anything. But I have been the GM at the Capitol Room since 2017. So kind of right when we opened our doors, I kind of just like left my last job and just started managing full time. And I've been there ever since. In 2018, we added planning coordination onto our portfolio as well. So we handle a little bit of everything. I have a lot of brides that come in and they do the more like DIY route and they do everything themselves, or we can do kind of like a partial thing where they do a lot of it themselves and then we take over on the day of. Otherwise, I have a lot of couples that are like full planning, full forward. I do everything for them for the most part. So we kind of do a lot of different stuff. I would say about 90% of our clients right now do both their ceremony and our reception in our space, which is awesome. So they have the flexibility to do everything. They can also get ready in our space too. So it's basically a really, really great spot. You walk in at 8 a.m. and you don't leave until midnight. And it's great for that. We are located in St. Peter, Minnesota. So if you're not familiar with the area, we are about an hour 15 minutes from Minneapolis to the south. So not too terrible of a drive. And 169 is beautiful in the spring and fall time, but it's a great little location if you want to do that like destination but not destination vibe. Just drive a little south of the cities and you'll just you'll find it. It's great. It's right on 169. It's an old
It's
building.
amazing. Yeah, it is the most, it's like, how would you describe it? I'm so bad at describing things, but it's like an old fashioned, but like completely redone, like just very like cutesy,
Yeah,
maybe is the wrong word, but
I switch how I describe this place on a monthly basis, I swear, but it's very like chic. Like picture like warehousey vibe with brick and steel and beams everywhere, but then like 30 chandeliers, like just spread throughout the whole entire building. We also have a lot of like mid-century modern touches and it's unique, it's cool, it's historic. There's not another venue that's exactly like it. And I love it because it stands the test of time. Like brick is always going to be cool. And we have rooms that are all white and we have rooms that are dark and we have color. It's pretty. It's just a really pretty building and I love it so much.
it is. And also, I think one of the wonderful things about venues like this is they can be so customized to the couple as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, I mean, I have a lot of brides that they keep things like really simple and really like just a couple candles, maybe a couple flowers. But then I have some brides that they do these big elaborate centerpieces and everything fits. Everything looks good. You I have some couples that'll spend $100,000 on their wedding. Those are very few and far in between. I think I've had one. Um, but then I have a lot of like budget brides, like myself. I got married at the Capitol. The discount was quite nice, I will say, for working there. But I had to do all my wedding planning myself. But I think like my husband and I spent like less than 20,000 on our wedding, like total for everything. So it is very easy to do and on a much smaller scale in our space. Whereas there's a lot of like not vendors, like you see all these big weddings on TikTok where people are like, we spent like $300,000 on our wedding. And I'm like, yeah, you're in California though. Like we are a much different demographic over here. So you can kind of
Definitely.
do a lot of different stuff, which is awesome.
So speaking of like personalization, what are some of your favorite trends that you've seen people doing recently that you're really a big fan of?
I will forever be a fan of disco balls and baby's breath. No, I know everybody's going to be like, baby's breath is terrible. Stop using it. But I will use it until the day I die. And I will push it because I love baby's breath so much. And like we've done a few weddings this year where I had like the little disco ball vignettes with baby's breath clouds around, and it's just so cute. And I love it so much. I am a sucker for color and I don't get to play around with color very often. A lot of our weddings keep things like pretty monochromatic or like black and white, which is beautiful and elegant. And I thrive in that area, but I love color. So seeing like a lot of big, bright, beautiful florals is just, it's so heartwarming. And I just feel like color just makes everybody happy. But I do still see a lot of florals. I don't see baby's breath going away. I'll probably have people tell me not to say that though. But it's great. And I feel like in our space we see a lot of candles and stuff. So the candle look is still beautiful and it's really like resplendent with like the lights and chandeliers and everything too. So
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I go every other direction because everything looks so beautiful in our space. And again, my mood changes on a daily basis for that too.
Oh, absolutely. I think, like you said, color. My new favorite thing is like the colored vases with the white baby's breath in it all across the room. That's like my new favorite thing. I
Yeah.
saw the colored vases at Dollar Tree and I was like, I wish I was getting married right now because that is the most. I was like, I would buy all of my vases at Dollar Tree and just a little baby's breath, and that would be amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and like, I mean, you're spending only $1 on a $1.25 technically, I guess, but on a vase, and then just a little flower is you get like best of both worlds. It's perfect.
Absolutely. So, can you also tell me? I know you mentioned a little bit about how you have people that do everything from full planning to DIY. And I know that we have a lot of people reach out to us who are doing maybe DIY with day of coordination, or they're just doing like a partial planning. So, what is the biggest advice that you could give for couples who are not doing full planning as they work on that planning themselves?
I always say, and to each and every of my clients too, like if they go with planning coordination through us or with a different planner or they don't do it at all, always just make sure you have a point person that day. And it can't be a mom, it can't be a dad, it can't be the maid of honor, and it can't be the bride or the groom. It needs to be somebody like just the random bridesmaid or a personal attendant or a groomsman that is just the most organized groomsman on the face of the planet. Somebody needs to be a point person that day to answer the questions when the vendors come, because if you don't do full planning through us or coordination or anything, we still have a venue manager on site that's going to be there to assist if need be, but they're not setting up your centerpieces, they're not lighting the candles, they're not doing the weird intricate little details like setting up your cupcakes and setting up your guest book table, that stuff. So having that point person to be there to do things for you, and you don't have to pay them, just make sure you have somebody so you as the bride or the groom or the mom are not running around making all these decisions and doing all these things when you're supposed to be like actually enjoying yourself. So that would, yeah, that would be my biggest piece of advice. Or if you can, just hire a day of coordinator. Just have somebody there that is focused on you and the small intricate details, because at the end of the day, you don't want to look back on your wedding day and be like, I wish I wouldn't have been setting out my cupcakes, or I wish I wouldn't have been like focused on my seating chart being a little incorrect, or Uncle Joe showing up when he said he wasn't going to and now I have to find a place for him.
Absolutely.
Like just weird little
Absolutely.
intricate stuff like that.
I definitely know that hiring day of coordination planning depends on what a couple's budget is. But like you said, I definitely think that a day of coordinator like is worth foregoing something else on the wedding. because I just have seen so many couples who didn't have one completely wish that they did because their day got taken up by, like you said, Uncle Joe showing up or something completely unexpected. And now they're having to deal with that on their wedding day.
Yeah, and that's the last thing that anybody wants to be focused on, or even like, where's my ring box? Who has the rings? Like, I mean, and I have a rule. I do not give the person I do not give rings to little children. They don't need them. Uh, they will lose them. And you don't give the rings to the best man or the maid of honor who's ever carrying them down the aisle until 5 minutes before the ceremony when I have them in eyesight. I can watch them the entire time.
I love that. Yeah, there's so many small things I feel like that are hard to think about until you're in the moment that can get lost. So, like, what do you think? I'm curious because I know what my answer is, but what's like your top 3 things that you think get missed whenever it comes to like the day of, like little details that end up popping up the day of?
Ooh, okay. I haven't thought about this question in a long time. Somebody else asked me this question like a couple years ago, and I remember I had great responses, and I don't remember what they were. But the rings is such a big one because I officiated a wedding a couple years ago for my best friends, and I was wedding party and officiant. I wasn't day of coordinator. I was just trying to be present in the day, and I forgot and I'm like leaning over. I have this amazing Britney Spears mic on, and I'm like leaning over to the best man. I'm like, hey, do you have the rings? And he goes, oh no, I forgot. And like, I'm like making eyes with the photographer, and she's just like, crap. And she like unzips her fanny pack and like hands me the rings off. And I'm like, okay, perfect. We have them. We're good now. But so number one, rings. Just make sure we have a plan for them. And then I guess I would say like making sure like as like the bride or the groom, you're eating and drinking water. Like make sure somebody makes a plan for that during the day because you're going and going and going. And if you partake in alcohol on a daily basis, or like you want to have a mimosa in the morning, like, okay, alcohol's dehydrating you. So you need to add in some water to help rehydrate you and stuff like that. And then the third thing I would say is check into your hotel. If you don't do it the night before, make sure you send somebody the day of your wedding to check into your hotel room. So at midnight, you're not like stumbling back up to your bridal and groom suite and you have no idea how to get in there. Because St. Peter's sometimes is a small town and you never know. You never know what happens. So I've had one couple, they didn't do it. I didn't think about it either. And so I had no idea how to help them with it. And she calls me at this is 1 o'clock in the morning. And she's just like, Megan, what do we do? And I'm like, oh shit. Okay. Come back. We'll open up a bottle of champagne. I pop some champagne. I'm calling 100 different people to be like, how do I get them into this hotel room? And I'm like I load them up in my backseat of my car. I'm basically their limo driver at now 2 o'clock in the morning. I am like trying to like get into the back of this hotel like with a code that like some random person that works there 2 years ago is trying to give me. And finally like an angel goddess from like the alleyway appears and she goes, oh, I have their key. And I'm like, oh, this is amazing. So check into your hotel if you do not
Oh my
already.
gosh.
Make a plan for that.
That is, I've never heard a story like that. But also, I feel like that speaks to you. Like, that is going above and beyond as like a wedding coordinator.
I remember dropping them off at the hotel, making sure that they were like tucked into their room and everything. And I like get in my car and I'm like, okay, one, I feel amazing because I'm like, she called me and not her mom. And like her and her mom had like a pretty relationship. So I'm like, okay, I'm basically friends with her now. This is so cool. But then also at the same time, I'm like, okay, adding that one to my list because the last thing I wanted to do on a Saturday night was be out until 3 o'clock in the morning trying to figure out how to break into a hotel. But
Absolutely.
now I know too. And I know those like are very like niche responses and like not responses that like any other person's probably gonna say or be any good advice, but real life, man.
Absolutely. I was gonna say, I think the biggest one for me is know who is announcing to sit down, be seated for dinner. That is the hardest. I always tell all my couples, that is the hardest part of the night. It doesn't matter how many places you have your wedding itinerary laid out. Nobody is going to go sit down when they're supposed to. So have a plan of who's making an announcement, who's getting people seated, and how is that transition, making sure that the catering gets checked in and they're ready. make sure they're not behind, and just like all of the timing around getting seated for dinner, I think is probably one of the number one places I've seen things go a little crazy.
Yeah, that is such a good one. I did not even consider that because I'm so hands-on at our venue with like that kind of stuff where I'm like, we're doing this now and now and now. And like there's like this I don't know. That's the one part where I'm like, I almost always have a plan with it because I'm like, I have to know who I'm finding, like who's having this microphone and stuff like that. Even if we're not coordination, like we have like very strict, like this is this kind of thing. So, but that's such a good point because I don't even think about that stuff because it's so mundane and like everyday thing for me personally.
Absolutely. Also, another thing that I was going to say that I think is important that people forget is that make sure that your vendors have copies of your floor plan and that you know exactly where, if you don't have a day of coordinator or somebody who's going to direct catering, where to go, your entertainment, where to go, where you want your floral centerpieces, where, if you have an arch, where do you want that? If you don't have somebody that's going to be there on site ready to tell you where to go, make sure that they have a floor plan or something that tells them where to set up. So that way they're not trying to find you as you're doing photos or things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great one too.
Okay. So another question I have for you is, what have you seen like recently that was like something completely unexpected that you were like, I would have never thought to do that, but that was amazing and I loved it?
Ooh. I mean, we did have Grimace show up to a wedding a couple weeks ago. Um, and I'm afraid of like monsters and everything scary in life. Like I don't do spiders, I don't do snakes, I don't do frogs. Like I don't do big furry purple monsters. It sounds so weird to say, but he came in a tuxedo and like was handing out like McChickens on the dance floor. And again, that's a very niche thing for our space, but it was really cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I guess I don't know. Like I'm a sucker for like small moments and like small intricate things that like aren't like these big wow crazy things because I'm also the kind of person that, and all my brides will testify to this. I'll be like, if I feel like they're spending a ton of money on stuff that I don't think that is necessary, I'm probably going to tell them. And so I think like small intricate things to me like mean a lot. Like we had a wedding a couple years ago where during their wedding ceremony, during like their unity part, the bride and groom wrote letters to each other, put them in a box with like a bottle of wine or bourbon or something, and then they were going to open up on their 1 year anniversary. And then
That's
the
so cute.
I know, I love that idea so much. But I'm also not a letter person, so I would never do it personally because that's not my act of love. But then the officiant said, and now I would like to invite the moms up to give a letter. And so the moms came up and put a letter in the box, and then the dads, and then the grandmas. And then he said, is there anybody else that has a letter for the bride and groom? And I kid you not, 30 to 40 people stood up and walked to the front and put their letters in, and the bride and groom had no idea. So whoever facilitated that, like, snaps to you because it was so
That's amazing.
beautiful. It was so powerful, and I'm sitting in the back just like sobbing uncontrollably. Oh my god, this is amazing. This is beautiful. Like, why didn't anybody do this for me? Um and so like stuff like that is so pretty and it's so beautiful because that's something you're gonna look back on your wedding day and you're gonna be like, oh, I this was so personalized. This is so beautiful. And like it is such a like a touching and romantic moment. So I love things like that. Like something that's gonna spark emotion and something that is going to like last with you for the rest of your life versus like a hanging floral chandelier. Granted, that's beautiful and pretty, and I love it. And I wish people would do them more, but I like something that's a little bit more meaningful, I guess.
Yeah. I love that. I think one of my favorites was we had a wedding where they were both teachers and they had letters from all of their students giving them marriage advice hanging all over the venue. And I thought that was the cutest thing ever.
Oh, I love that. That's so cute. My future sister-in-law is a teacher, and now I'm like, should I? I
That's
can't
so
legally
cute.
reach out to her students in class because that's a pretty illegal, but I think I could find a guy.
Yeah, it was the cute. And it was one of those things where like whenever I talk to couples and they're, talking about budget and things like that, and little things like that that add to the decor, they like went to Dollar Tree and put them in photo frames and had them all over. And I was like, that was the cutest, most memorable decor. And it was literally hand drawn by their students in frames from the Dollar Tree. Like,
I love
it's,
that.
those little things I think that make a big difference.
Have you seen at any of the weddings that you've done? I just saw it recently on like an influencer's Instagram and TikTok, but like she had wrote like handwritten letters to like every single one of their guests, and that's what they had on like their place setting. Like when they came to dinner was this beautiful handwritten letter, and I'm like, oh my god, I love that
Yes. Oh my
too.
gosh.
That's
Okay.
so
One of my mom's coworkers, she was just at their wedding and they did that and she told me about that. And I was like, that is the cutest thing in the entire world. I also just bought a Cricut, so I'm like, I could even like make them all in the Cricut, like have it do all the writing.
That sounds like my
Yes.
worst nightmare. I hate like I am too lazy to do a Cricut. I will 100% support anybody that does it, and I would love to learn to have patience to do it, but I tried to make t-shirts for a bachelorette party a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, "No, no, I couldn't imagine doing it for a wedding." So if you have a crafty friend that can make all your signage and stuff on a Cricut, you friend that friend for life, and you buy them a nice gift because they are
Come be
doing
my friend.
yeah. It would work for me because we could sell something maybe. I just don't want
Oh,
any part of
I
it.
love, yeah, the Cricut is my favorite hack that I also tell, like, especially, like, I know it's weird to be a pianist who has arthritis in your hands, but I have arthritis in my hands. So writing, like, lots and lots of notes is really hard for me. And I, like, turn my own, like, handwriting into a font. So that way my Cricut can, like, write it for me. And it's the best thing ever.
Oh my god, I love that. That's so
Yeah.
genius.
Yeah. So also, if you want your DIY Cricut tips, hit me up.
I was gonna say follow Alyssa. Here's her Instagram handle right here.
I was gonna say one of my favorite things, and I'm sure you're the same way, is like talking with all of our couples about just like ideas for their wedding. Like I love nothing more than to like sit on the phone and just like chat with our couples and like hear what they're planning and like bounce ideas and brainstorm. I think that's one thing that people don't always realize is that a lot of people who work in the industry, like, I want to be your friend. Like, let's chat. I want to make this day special for you. And not just be like, I don't want you to just hire me and we never communicate. Like, I like to hear about things. And I have one couple who I've heard from since their wedding. And it's so great to like hear how they're doing afterwards and to
Oh,
see
that's
them at
great.
events and stuff.
I love following my clients like after I try to like have a strict boundary though too. Like after your wedding's done, absolutely. We can be friends, we can talk. I love following like your life journey. Like, did you get a new dog or a cat or buy a house? Like, are you having children now? Like, I love following that journey. I do feel like I have to set those boundaries though every once in a while, like leading up to the wedding day. Like, okay, I'll like you can follow my like Catherine Instagram page and then like you can follow my personal page too. Like that's fine, but I'm not gonna like follow back just because I never want to like set that like precedent of like 100 years ago when I was doing like photos and stuff. We had photographed like 70 plus weddings in 1 year and it was insane. And like I took like 2 weeks off, like like in off season to like just like take a break, reconvene, trying to figure out what I wanted to do in life. And we had started Capital around that same time too. And I had a couple couples reach out and they're just like, "Are you done with our wedding photos? We saw that you are on vacation." And I'm like, I'm drowning right now. So I've learned like to set like those boundaries and stuff.
I love that.
But then that also makes like the times that I do get to like sit down and do planning and stuff with my clients, I feel like it's a little bit more special because we have that little bit of time to like catch up. Like, hey, what are you doing in your life? Like, how are you relaxing right now? So there's such like a weird give and take. And I know every single vendor is going to feel differently about that. But I do love like having that connection with clients and being
Oh,
able to
definitely.
move around and like make ideas and stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. I always tell my clients, I'm like, if I'm not responding to your email right away, it's because I try to be present with every client that we have. And so sometimes being present with every single client means that it's going to take me just a little bit longer to respond.
Yes. I guess that's yeah, that's definitely more like advice for like other wedding professionals.
Definitely. Yeah. I love that. Okay. I have one last question for you and then we're going to wrap up, which is sad, but
Well, I
we
want
could
to
sit
talk
here and
more.
talk for like 2 hours. So my last question for you is what is something that you do that you think is special that is like a very like Megan thing that you do with your couples, either as a planner or as a venue manager, or it could be something that the Capitol Room does. That's just like a little detail that you think is important and that you think that your couples really appreciate?
Oh, okay. I mean, this is like a very selfish response, so forgive me. But like my favorite part of the day is, and it's obviously like if you don't get married in my space, like it's a little bit different because a lot of times I do go to ceremonies with my clients if they do planning coordination with us. But when you're at the Capitol Room and you do planning coordination with us, like my favorite moment is right before the bride walks down. I get the bridal party down, the parents, the grandparents, the children. We have these big black curtains in our space that we close, and it's just the bride and whomever walking her down the aisle. A lot of times it is her dad or her mom. I get her dress fluffed wherever it needs to be, and then we just stand there, and it's just us three, and we take a bunch of deep breaths and we practice our slow and controlled movements. And then I'm like, are we ready? And then I ask who's ever walking down, I'm like, are you ready? And like, it's just such a powerful moment that like, that's the one calmness of the day. Like everything else is so rushed and it's always go, 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 go. Like it's such a powerful spot to just like sit, take a deep breath, and then be able to walk down the aisle. And for me, that's my favorite spot. I cry almost every single time. I've done over 400
I'm
weddings
gonna
now.
cry just listening to you talking to about it.
And there's been a couple moments where like the grooms are emotional, the brides are both emotional, and it's like having to be like that person that is strong and calm and like not showing any emotion, just kind of being that like safety net and like that stronghold for that person is such a powerful feeling. And it just like I love being that person. I love being that person that also to my clients can come and they can just like talk crap about not crap about me, but like just something's going wrong. They
They could talk
feel
crap about you to you too.
it's
At
fine.
least
It's
it's in
fine.
front of your face, right?
I do weird things all the time, but I love my clients feeling comfortable enough to like come in if they're having a problem with somebody or something. Like, I love it. Like, come talk to me. I'm not going to give you the best advice, but I love being that person and like love that you can feel comfortable enough like sharing something with me or like having just that moment with. And I'm such an energy matcher too where like if you are up here, I'm going to match you until I need to like bring you down just a little bit, or like if you're down here and like you're feeling stressed and anxious and I can just like see that really tough energy on you. I love being that person that can loosen that load and like bring you up and make you feel comfortable about the decisions that you're making and all that stuff. Like that's what I love about this job though, because it's different every single day too. And every single one of my clients is different. So I mean, you're going to be having the worst day of your life. And I want you to be able to walk out of our meetings and you can be like, I feel good now. Like, does that sound weird? Is that like a good
No, I love that. Yeah. There's something really nice too about like I always try to tell my couples like I want to be a good fit for you and you like I want it to be like a mutual good fit. Like whenever we find clients like it fits like a glove and I love to like talk to our clients and feel like they leave our conversation not being like I just checked another thing off the box, but feeling like oh, this feels like it's all of a sudden going to be way easier than I anticipated it's going to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I have so many brides that they walk in and again, their shoulders are up here. Their tension is so high. They kind of feel like they're coming in and they're feeling like a tornado. And then like we sit down, sometimes over wine if it really feels like it is needed, or over a coffee or water or whatever it is. And like they leave and they just like, it's like all that weight's been lifted off. And it's not even that like, sometimes we're not even making decisions. It's just like you're taking all of this stuff that you've been planning for 6 to 12 months and just putting it on somebody else. And like, it's gone from your brain. You don't have to think about it again until the wedding day. And that's so helpful, I think, for people.
Delegation, I think, is such a huge thing for couples. Like you said, that might just be the theme of this episode is delegation. Like you said, like making sure you know who has the rings, making sure you have the point person, like giving your planning to somebody, like making sure, like that's why we try to be a one-stop shop at Felix and Fingers is because we try, you know, then we're emceeing, we're DJing, we're doing the entertainment. Like we've covered all of those parts so that way you don't have to think about it. And I think delegation is such a huge thing because at the end of the day, yes, you're planning this huge wedding, but also you want to be able to enjoy that day. That day is there for you. And I think that's such a big thing that sometimes it's easy to lose focus of.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I love that we just did like a full circle moment here.
I know, we didn't even plan to do that. This was
Yeah.
completely
nice.
unplanned, but it was such a perfect, I was like, that's so true. Like, I think the big thing is like making sure that you have people that are going to be on your side and people that can take some of the load off so that way you can enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Well, I don't think there's a better way to end the episode than our little full circle moment we just had. So we'll wrap it up here, but thanks so much for listening. Thank you, Megan, so much for being here today. I really,
I
Oh,
feel
wow.
like we could like talk for like 6 more hours, and this needs to be a part 2. So anytime like you need, like just you have like a specific thing, like I
Yeah.
need boundaries though too. So it's just like, let's talk about this today and then this next Thursday. I'll be back all the time. All the time.
Yeah, so just come hang out with us and listen to us talk about everything.
Yeah. We should just do like a live podcast screening at like a theater somewhere up in the cities. See how many people.
Perfect. I love it. Amazing. Well, thank you so much. And thanks for listening to everybody that's been listening or watching this. And tune in next time.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Eventful Endeavors, Secrets to Crafting the Perfect Celebration. We hope to have left you with some actionable ideas for your own event. If you like the show, please subscribe and definitely leave us a review. We read every comment. So until next time, happy planning and see you soon on Eventful Endeavors.